Tariq had never seen a jungle like this before. Thick green trees rose like towers. Strange birds made sharp calls. The air was hot and full of buzzing sounds. Smoke still floated behind him, where his small ship had crashed into the trees. He limped. His left leg hurt from the fall. His clothes were torn. Sweat ran down his face. He checked the sky. 2 suns. That meant he was still on Vraka, the war world. The ship had lost control near the upper orbit. Now, he was alone. No signal. No help. He pulled a metal rod from his belt. It was the only thing he had left from the ship's toolkit. Just a broken pipe. But better than nothing. Something moved in the trees. He turned. Too late. A large net flew over him. Sharp ropes pulled tight around his arms and chest. He struggled. But the net dragged him to the ground. A deep voice growled nearby. He looked up and froze. A tall figure walked out of the trees. It wore black armor with glowing red lines. Its shoulders were wide. Its face was hidden under a mask made of bone. But the shape was clear. It was no human. It was a Rakari, a jungle warrior from this planet. The Rakari pulled off the bone mask. Her skin was silver gray, marked with deep battle scars. Her eyes glowed yellow. Her hair was tied back with wires. She looked strong enough to crush a tank. "You are prey," she said. Her voice was deep and rough. Tariq stayed silent. He watched her carefully. "I am Ruin," she said. "First Fang of the Bloodhorn tribe. You have landed in my land, according to the code. I must eat you." Tariq blinked. He had heard stories. The Rakari saw other species as either warriors or meat. But, Ruin continued, if prey can speak, they are allowed one chance. You may offer a second option, something of value, or I eat you now. Tariq sat up a little. Still caught in the net. "You think I'm food." She tilted her head. "You're weak. You carry no blade. Your bones are soft. But my hands are smart," he said. "Let me show you." Ruin stared at him. "Words are air. Show me what your hands can do. If I like it, I won't eat you. If not, I do what the code says." Then she turned and walked away. With one arm, she pulled the net behind her like it weighed nothing. Tariq was taken to a small camp built into the jungle. Rakari warriors stood guard with heavy weapons. Some had tusks on their armor. They all looked at him like he was nothing. Ruin threw him into a cage made of metal branches. "You will stay," she said, "until the sun rises again. Then I decide." Tariq sat inside. He looked around. The camp had machines, broken ones. Their tech was strong, but not fixed well. The Rakari did not understand how to repair the small circuits. An idea came. He stood. "Let me fix something," he said. "If I fail, you can eat me." Ruin raised one brow. "Fix what?" "That weapon near the fire," he said. "The one with the red barrel. It's broken." She nodded. "Blade cannon. Hasn't fired in 6 seasons. It is dead." "Let me try," Tariq said. Ruin opened the cage. "One mistake, and I cut off your hands first." She dropped the blade cannon in front of him. It was heavy. The side panel was cracked. The power core inside was out of balance. Tariq took pieces of scrap from the ground. He used a small crystal shard as a new fuse. He twisted the wires using a belt pin. Then he cleaned the cooling lines with a cloth from his shirt. The Rakari warriors gathered around. Some laughed, some stared. One said, "Let the prey play before he dies." Tariq ignored them. He focused, hands moved fast. He knew this kind of tech. It was old, but not too different from human machines. After 2 hours, he stepped back. "Try it now," he said to Daryuyu and took the blade cannon. She pointed it at a rock and pressed the trigger. A loud hum filled the air. Red energy lit up, and a sharp line of plasma burst forward, cutting the rock in two. The camp went silent. One warrior dropped his cup. Another stepped back. Ruin looked at the weapon, then looked at Tariq. "You brought it back from death," she said. He nodded. "It just needed care." She turned to the others. "This human fixed a weapon the tribe gave up on. He is not prey." The others growled in confusion. One warrior shouted, "But he is small, weak. He can't fight. He can make broken things work," Ruin said. That is strength too. She looked at Tariq again. Her eyes were unreadable. I still don't trust you, she said. But the code allows this. You are useful. For now. Tariq stayed quiet. He knew it wasn't over. Then Ruin added, her voice low and cold. But remember, if you fail again, if you lie or break anything, I eat you without asking. Tariq gave a small smile. Fair deal. She turned and walked away. He sat on the ground, tired but alive. The jungle hissed in the background, and above him, the two suns of Vraka began to set. The next morning, the camp was alive with noise. Drums echoed through the jungle. Warriors sharpened weapons. Sparks flew as armor plates were hammered into shape. Smoke rose from cooking fires, and in the center of it all, Tariq sat beside a broken power unit, covered in grease. He had been working since sunrise. His fingers were sore, but his mind was sharp. Ruin had not eaten him. That was good, but she had not accepted him yet. That was dangerous. Ruin stood nearby, arms crossed, her face unreadable. She watched as he adjusted a cooling valve. A small blue light blinked. The core buzzed to life. That's the third one you've fixed, she said. Tariq wiped sweat from his forehead. You have good tech. It just needs care. You fix, but you don't fight. I fix so you can fight better. Ruin said nothing. Just then, a younger warrior approached. His name was Brick. He wore less armor than the others, and his face showed doubt. This human, is he a pet or a tool? Ruin did not look at him. He is under my protection. Brick laughed. Protection from what? He can't lift a blade. Tariq stood slowly. No, but I can lift your broken cannon and make it burn like the sun. Brick stepped forward, angry. If you touch my cannon, I'll— Enough, Ruin growled. Her voice made both men freeze. She stepped between them. If you want him gone, prove he is prey. If not, let him work. Brick grunted and walked away. The others watched from the shadows. None of them trusted Tariq yet, but they didn't stop him either. Ruin looked at Tariq. You made enemies fast. He shrugged. Where I come from, that usually means I'm doing something right. Later that day, Ruin took him deeper into the jungle. She walked without speaking, her steps quiet despite the heavy armor. Tariq followed, his tool bag slung over his shoulder. They reached a broken transport vehicle. Vines had grown through it. Metal was rusted. Panels were shattered. This belonged to my old commander, Ruin said. She died in this machine. Tariq walked around it slowly. You want me to fix it? No. I want to see what you do when you touch something full of ghosts. He knelt by the front panel. It had been burned by plasma. He opened it carefully and found a sealed memory core. It still had power. This can be recovered. He said, I just need time. Ruin didn't answer. She sat on a fallen tree and watched. Tariq worked in silence as he connected wires and cleaned the core. A voice suddenly spoke from the console. A recording. Ruin, the voice said, if you find this, don't carry the tribe alone. Tariq looked up. Ruin's eyes had changed, softer. But she said nothing. I'm sorry, he said. She was my sister. Ruin said, she died, protecting the tribe. I took her place. But her words still burn inside me. Tariq closed the panel. I'll make the rest work soon. Let the tribe hear her again. Ruin nodded, then stood. Let's go. You have passed your second test. That night, the camp was quiet. Ruin sat by the fire with Tariq beside her. The warriors stayed at a distance. Some whispered. Others stared. You confuse them, Ruin said. I confuse you too, Tariq replied. She looked into the fire. Your kind comes with ships and steel. But you act different. No anger. No fear. I was afraid, Tariq said. Still am. But fear doesn't fix things. She picked up a small piece of tech he had repaired earlier, a signal beacon. She turned it in her hands. This called your people? Tariq shook his head. Not yet. I stopped it. If the wrong signal goes out, they'll think I'm in danger and send fighters. Ruin looked at him. Why would you stop your own army? Because you didn't eat me. He said with a half smile. That means something. She stared at him for a moment, then looked away. You are strange. Humans usually are. They sat in silence. The fire crackled. Insects chirped. Wind moved through the leaves above. Then Ruin spoke again. There's an old law. If prey is useful, they can earn protection, but only if they pass the trial. What trial? The trial of heat and pain. A test left behind by the ones who ruled this jungle before us. No outsider has passed it. Tariq didn't flinch. What happens if I pass? Then you are not prey. Not guessed. You are claimed. Claimed by who? Ruin looked into the fire. By me. Tariq didn't speak. The fire reflected in his eyes. Later, in his sleeping tent made of leaves and netting, Tariq lay awake. He stared at the stars through the gaps in the roof. He thought about Earth, about his ship, about his chances. Then he thought of Ruin. Strong, sharp, silent. But she had protected him when she didn't have to. She had listened. That was rare. In a world of warriors, she had given him a chance. He turned to the side, holding a small tool in his hand like a lucky charm. Tomorrow, he would face the trial. If he passed, he would live. If not, the Rackery code was clear. But he wasn't planning to lose. The next morning, the sky over Vraka was dull and gray. Thick clouds covered the twin suns, casting long shadows over the jungle. But inside the Bloodhorn camp, all eyes were focused on a single place, an ancient stone path hidden behind sharp vines and black trees. Tariq stood at the edge of that path. Ruin stood beside him, quiet, her face like stone. This is it? He asked. She nodded once. The trial of heat and pain lies at the end of that path. Few enter, few return. Tariq looked down at his hands. Small cuts and burns from days of repair work covered his fingers, but he didn't feel weak. Not anymore. Do I go alone? Yes. Ruin said. No weapons, no armor. Only your skill and mine. Tariq took a breath. And what happens if I fail? You vanish. The jungle takes you. The tribe forgets you. He gave a small smile. I'll try not to vanish, then. Tariq stepped into the trees. The air grew hotter with every step. The plants changed, leaves turned red. The ground felt warm under his boots. And small glowing insects buzzed around him. Soon, he reached a metal door half buried in stone. Symbols glowed on its surface, old and sharp. This place had been built long before the Rackery. Maybe before most known species. The door opened with a slow hiss. He stepped inside. The trial chamber was a wide circular room, made of old alloy and black stone. The walls were covered in pipes, vents, and strange glowing orbs. Fire flickered in rings around the edge. At the center stood a raised platform. As soon as he entered, the door closed behind him. Heat filled the room. Steam burst from vents. A deep voice echoed, mechanical and cold. Begin. Tariq moved quickly. 3 lights turned red above him. A line of fire shot across the floor. He jumped to the side, barely dodging it. Then the floor shook. Panels rose from the ground. Spinning rods with electric sparks at the tips. Tariq saw no weapons, no guide, only danger. He whispered to himself, this is not a battle. It's a puzzle. He ducked low, scanned the floor, and saw small symbols near each spinning rod. They matched parts he had seen in Rackery machines. He ran toward one and yanked the lever free. The rod stopped spinning. He moved to the next. Sparks hit his arm, burning his sleeve, but he didn't stop. Within 5 minutes, the spinning rods powered down. A voice said, round 1 complete. But then the temperature rose again. Panels in the walls opened. Pipes glowed red. A new voice spoke. Balance the heat or burn. Tariq understood fast. This was a machine test. Not survival by strength, survival by knowledge. He ran to the far side, where he saw 3 broken vents. Using parts from his belt pouch, he repaired. Too quickly. But the third had missing pieces. He looked at his shirt, tore off a sleeve, wrapped it around a pipe as a patch. It worked. The pressure dropped. The room cooled. Steam hissed out of the walls. Round 2 complete, the voice said. Tariq fell to one knee, coughing. His face was soaked with sweat. His hands trembled. Then the floor opened. A tall figure rose from below. Not real, but a hard light hologram. It looked like a Rakiri warrior, glowing and silent, holding a blade. The voice said, "Final round. Stand your ground." The figure charged. Tariq had no weapon. He backed up, heart racing. "Think." He whispered, "It's not real. It's not alive." The blade came fast. Tariq grabbed a metal pole from the floor and used it to block. Sparks flew. He saw wires connected to the hologram's base near the platform. He dove, rolled across the floor, and slammed his pole into the wires. Electricity snapped. The hologram flickered, then vanished. The lights turned white. The fire dimmed. The floor stopped shaking. "Trial complete," said the voice. "Subject, human. Status, passed." The door opened. Outside, the warriors waited. When Tariq stepped out, smoke rising from his clothes, the camp went silent. His face was covered in ash. His hair was soaked with sweat. His hands were black from burns. But he walked upright. Breck's mouth fell open. He survived. Another warrior whispered, "No one survives the trial alone." Ruin stepped forward. Her eyes locked on his. "You passed?" Tariq nodded. "I fixed their fire. And I broke their ghost." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Ruin did something none of them expected. She dropped to one knee. "By code of flame and stone," she said, loud and clear, "this human is not prey. He is marked." The crowd gasped. Brek shouted, "He's just a fixer. A soft one." Ruin stood. Her voice became sharp. "He survived what your strongest could not. He earned his mark." She turned to Tariq. "Now, you wear the sign." She handed him a metal badge, the shape of a claw wrapped around a flame. Tariq took it slowly. "What does this mean?" "It means," Ruin said, "you are under my protection. You live, you walk, you build, you fight. If you choose, you are claimed." Tariq looked at the badge, then looked at her. "And if I don't want to be claimed?" Ruin's voice was calm. "Then you are free to walk away. But the jungle may not be so kind again." He thought for a moment. Then he placed the badge on his chest. "I'm not going anywhere." That night, the tribe held a fire feast in Tariq's name. Drums played. Warriors danced. Ruin sat beside him, quiet but alert. She looked at him once and said, "I don't understand humans." "You don't need to," he replied. "Just don't eat them." She almost smiled. And above them, stars filled the sky. But deep in the forest, something old had stirred, awakened by the trial. Something neither Ruin nor Tariq had noticed yet, but it had noticed them. The next day began with silence. No drums, no shouting, no training. The camp was still. Warriors stood in small groups, whispering and glancing toward the center. Something had changed since the night of the fire feast. Tariq sat near the edge of the forge tent, checking the blade cannon he had repaired earlier. He adjusted a coil and tightened the grip. His hands moved with purpose now. He wasn't just a visitor. He was part of this place. But peace never lasted long on Vraka. A loud roar echoed through the camp. Tariq looked up. Brick stepped into the center, wearing full battle armor. His chest was marked with fresh paint, the symbol of a personal challenge. Behind him, warriors gathered fast. Some climbed up wooden platforms to get a better view. Ruin stood near the fire pit, watching in silence. Brick raised his blade. "This is not about the human fixing tools," he shouted. "This is about the law, about who belongs here." Tariq stood slowly. Brick pointed at him. The human passed the trial. But he did not fight. He did not bleed. And now he walks with honor while real warriors stay silent. The crowd growled. Some agreed. Some stayed quiet. Tariq stepped forward. "You want to fight me?" Brick laughed. "You? No. You would not last one breath." Ruin stepped between them. "Then what do you want?" Brick turned to her. "Let the human face the beast trial. Not with machines, not with wires. Let him face the wild, bare, and honest." A few warriors cheered. The beast trial was old, rarely used. A fight not against a warrior, but against one of the jungle's native monsters. One-on-one. No weapons, Ruin frowned. "That's not our way anymore. But it is still written in the old code." Brick said, "Or is your code broken now?" Ruin looked at Tariq. He nodded. "Let him choose the beast. I'll face it. Are you sure? She asked. I won't run, he said. I fix what's broken. And this challenge feels broken to me. That evening, the cage was brought out, thick. Chains held the doors shut. The beast inside roared and slammed against the walls. Dust flew into the air. The ground shook. It was called a verloc, a six-legged jungle creature with black eyes, sharp tusks, and hard scales like rock. Tariq stood outside the circle. He wore no armor. Only cloth wraps around his hands and feet. Ruin stood beside him. You can still walk away, she said. Tariq shook his head. If I walk now, I'm prey again. She looked into his eyes. Then don't die. The cage door opened. The beast burst out, low to the ground, sniffing, growling. It charged fast. Tariq jumped aside. The beast crashed into a stone pillar. Tariq ran, thinking fast. He had no weapon, but he had the land. The trial circle was filled with bones, old wood, and ropes from earlier games. He picked up a bone spear, cracked but sharp at the tip. The beast turned and charged again. Tariq waited. At the last second, he rolled under it and stabbed the spear into its side. It howled and kicked back. The crowd shouted. Brick smirked. He wanted blood. Tariq moved again, fast. He grabbed a rope, tied one end to a heavy log, and began leading the beast in circles. The verloc chased him, angry and confused. Step by step, he led it into the trap. When the beast stepped into the loop of rope, Tariq yanked the other side. The log rolled, the rope tightened, and the beast's front legs tangled. It stumbled. Tariq jumped on its back, using a broken chain. He wrapped it around the creature's jaw and pulled hard. The beast roared, slammed its body around, but couldn't shake him off. Then, finally, the verloc fell. The crowd gasped. Tariq stood on top of the beast, breathing hard. I don't need to kill it, he shouted. I just need it to understand me. The beast, tired and trapped, growled once, then went quiet. The camp was silent. Ruin stepped forward. The human did not run. He did not break. He showed strength. He showed control. She looked at Brick. Is this enough for you? Brick didn't answer. One by one, the warriors began to clap their fists to their chests. A sign of respect. Ruin walked to Tariq. You earned your place again. Tariq looked at her, breathing hard. You believe me now? I believed you before, she said. But now the tribe does too. That night, Tariq sat alone by the edge of camp, looking at the stars. His body ached, but his spirit was calm. You and joined him. You didn't kill the beast, she said. Why? It didn't need to die, Tariq said. It was scared. Angry. I understood that. She sat beside him. You are strange. You keep saying that. Because it's true. She took something from her belt, a small carving made of stone and metal. She placed it in his hand. This is the mark of second bond. Not given, chosen. What does that mean? It means we walk together now. Not as prey, not as guests, but as equal steps in one path. Tariq looked at the carving. It was shaped like a flame and a gear. I accept, he said. They sat in silence, the jungle quiet for once. But deep below the ground, near the old trial chamber, something stirred. A device long forgotten had begun to glow. Faint signals moved through the roots, calling to something far away, something old, and it was waking. The jungle felt quieter than usual. After the beast trial, the Bloodhorn camp treated Tariq with respect. Warriors nodded when they passed him. Some asked him to fix their weapons. Others just watched him with curious eyes. Even Brick stayed silent. His challenge settled. But something deep in the earth had changed. Tariq didn't know it yet. But the machine he had touched during the trial, the old one with the voice, had started something ancient, something dangerous. That night, while checking a signal tower near the edge of camp, Tariq noticed strange readings on his scanner. A small device he had made from scraps blinked with a soft red light. He frowned. That's not a normal signal. Ruin stood nearby, sharpening her blade. What did you find? Something's sending a pulse from underground. Far away. Very old. Not Rackery tech. She stood up. Where? Tariq pointed toward the west. It's coming from near the trial chamber. But deeper. Ruin looked toward the jungle. Her face became serious. Long ago, our ancestors spoke of a sealed machine below the trial. A star caller, they called it. They said it was cursed. Tariq raised his eyebrows. A machine that calls stars? No one believed it was real. She said, but they said if it ever woke, it would bring either light or ruin. Tariq packed up his tools. Then we better see what it's saying, before someone else does. The next morning, Ruin and Tariq traveled into the jungle. No guards, no beasts, only vines, heat, and silence. They reached the old trial chamber, then moved past it. Ruin found a stone door hidden behind thick roots. It was half open and glowing blue from the inside. This was sealed, she whispered. Tariq stepped inside. Not anymore. They walked into a wide underground hall. The air was cool, filled with soft humming. Lights along the walls blinked, slowly, as if the machine had just woken from a long sleep. At the center stood a large round structure, like a giant bowl turned upside down, with rings of metal floating around it. Symbols glowed on every surface. Tariq walked closer. This is not just a machine. It's a transmitter. What does it send? Messages, he said. Or warnings. He placed his hand on a control panel. The symbols shifted into shapes he could read. A voice spoke from the center. Star path. Beacon activated. Awaiting command. Ruin stepped back. It speaks. Tariq read the display. It hasn't sent anything yet, but it's awake now, and it's powerful. Then the voice spoke again. Connection detected. Incoming signal. Matching Earth pattern. Tariq froze. Earth, Ruin asked. He nodded slowly. It's trying to link with a human ship. Ruin's hand moved to her blade. Will it bring war? Tariq stepped back from the panel. It depends. If Earth thinks I'm in danger, they'll send a strike team. She narrowed her eyes. Then stop it. Before they come with fire, back. At camp, Brick stood in the shadows. He had followed them. He didn't trust the human. And now he had seen the truth. A machine that talks to the stars. He muttered to himself. If I control it, I won't need the code. I'll make my own tribe. That night, while Ruin and Tariq worked to understand the machine, Brick snuck back into the jungle with 2 loyal warriors. Inside the underground chamber, Tariq adjusted the controls. He had slowed the signal, made it quieter. Earth would not hear it unless it got much stronger. Ruin watched him work. You control the machine now, she said. No, he replied. I understand it. That's different. She smiled a little. Still, you hold more power than most warriors ever dream of. He looked at her. Power is only useful if it protects something. Their moment was broken by the sound of an alarm. Tariq's scanner buzzed. Someone's coming. Ruin drew her blade. Get behind me. But before she could move far, Brick entered the chamber, holding a pulse spear. Step away from the machine, he said. Tariq stood tall. You followed us. I saw the light, Brick said. I saw the machine, and I saw what it can do. With it, I can call the stars. Bring fire to every tribe who ever looked down on me. You don't know how it works, Tariq said. I don't need to, Brick growled. I only need to send one signal. Ruin stepped in front of Tariq. You'll destroy everything. No, Brick said, raising his weapon. I will fix everything my way. He fired. Ruin knocked the shot aside, sparks flying across the chamber. The fight began. Tariq ducked behind the control panel, fingers moving fast. If Brick sent a signal now, Earth would respond, and that could mean war. He rewired a control node. The machine buzzed louder. Symbols flashed. Brick charged Ruin. Blades clashing in the dark chamber. Tariq yelled, Ruin. Hold him, I can shut it down. Ruin blocked a heavy strike. Do it fast. Tariq pulled out a wire from his belt, tied it to glowing circuits, and slammed the panel closed. The room went dark. The machine's voice faded. Signal canceled. Beacon offline. Brick screamed and fell back. What did you do? I stopped you from calling an army. Tariq said. Brick turned to him. You think this makes you strong? You ruin everything. No. Ruin said, stepping forward with her blade at Brick's chest. He saved more than you'll ever understand. Brick growled but lowered his weapon. This isn't over. Ruin pushed him back. It is for you. Later. As the camp settled again, Tariq sat beside the old transmitter. Its light had faded. Its voice was quiet. Ruin joined him. You stopped a war before it began, she said. He nodded. But we woke something ancient. I felt it. There's more beneath this jungle. Ruin looked at the vines above. Then we faced it together. She placed her hand on his shoulder. You did not only handle me the other way, Tariq, she said. You handled our future. He looked up at her dot, and in the soft silence of the deep jungle, a new bond formed, not by blade, not by code, but by choice. The wind over the jungle changed dot at night. It no longer moved softly through the trees. It howled, like something far beneath the ground had begun to breathe. The leaves shivered. The animals grew quiet. Even the warriors of the Bloodhorn camp felt it. Something was coming. Tariq stood near the edge of camp, eyes on the sky. He held a small device in his hand, the same one he had built to track the signal from the Starpath beacon. The screen blinked yellow. Ruin joined him, her armor already strapped on. Is it active again? No, Tariq said. But something near it is waking. A second signal, different pattern. Ruin looked toward the jungle. Then the old stories were right. There wasn't just one machine underground. There's another, Tariq said. It didn't wake when we touched the first, but now it's alive, and it's angry. I think it's watching. They stood in silence. Then a horn blew from the center of camp. Warriors shouted. Footsteps rushed. Fires lit up. A young guard ran toward them. Ruin, it's Brick. She turned sharply. What did he do now? He's taken half the camp. The guard said, he says the tribe must follow him now, that he controls the will of the old ones. Ruin's eyes narrowed. Fool, Tariq. Place the tracker into his pouch. If he gets near the second machine, he could trigger something dangerous. He doesn't want control, Ruin said. He wants revenge. The camp split within hours. Brick stood on the hill near the southern tents. A red flag flew behind him. He wore dark armor with added metal spikes. His followers stood in rows, their weapons raised, across the field. Ruin stood with her side of the tribe, fewer in number, but stronger in loyalty. Tariq stood beside her, holding a rebuilt signal disruptor in both hands. Brick raised his voice. I offered strength. He offered silence, and you followed him. He offered peace. Ruin shouted back, you bring only ruin. Brick laughed. Then let's end it tonight. He raised his hand, and from the jungle behind him, strange lights flickered. Metal shapes moved between trees. Tariq stepped forward. What is that? Ruin stared, jaw tight. He found it. Out of the trees came tall walking machines, old war droids from ancient times, covered in moss and rust but still deadly. Somehow, Brick had reactivated them. They're moving toward the beacon site, Tariq said. He's sending them to take control. Ruin growled. Then we stop him here. She turned to her warriors. Hold the line. Protect the path. Then, she looked at Tariq. Go. You know those machines better than anyone. Tariq nodded and ran. Through thick vines and narrow paths, Tariq raced toward the old chamber. Behind him, the sounds of battle rose. Shouts, roars, metal clashing. He reached the beacon site. The earth shook as the droids stepped out of the trees. Their arms glowed. One aimed a plasma cannon at the hill. Tariq ducked behind a rock, pulling wires from his belt. Come on, he whispered. Old machine, old code. There has to be a way in. He ran toward a side panel on the nearest droid. Sparks flew as it fired, missing him by inches. He jumped, latched onto the side, and slammed a bolt into a control port. The machine paused. Tariq connected his disruptor. Override code now. The screen blinked. The droid made a deep clicking sound, then powered down. Its body froze. In place, the second one turned toward him. Tariq didn't have time to run. He threw a small EMP charge and dived to the ground. The pulse exploded with a flash. The droid's lights went dark. Tariq coughed. His arm burned, but he was alive. He stood and looked toward the chamber. It was glowing again. Inside, the second machine had begun to rise. Its rings spun slowly. Its surface opened like petals. A blue core floated above the floor. Energy crackled through the room. Tariq stepped in carefully. The voice from before returned. Second signal detected. Defense system preparing. Tariq ran to the panel. Defense, no. Don't attack. Disable. Authority not recognized, the machine replied. He grabbed his toolkit and began typing. Recognize this. Then, behind him, the stone door opened. Brick walked in, wounded but smiling. You're too late, human. Tariq didn't look up. You're going to wake a weapon older than your tribe. That's the plan. Brick said. He raised his blade. Before he could move, Ruin stepped into the room, armor burned but eyes bright with fire. No, she said. This ends with you. She rushed forward. The two clashed, blade against blade. Sparks flew. The machine above them glowed brighter. Tariq worked faster. Just need one more. Brick knocked Ruin to the ground. She's finished. Tariq turned and held a metal rod in his hand. Then fight me. Brick laughed. You? He charged. Tariq ducked, rolled, and hit a panel on the wall. Energy burst from the floor. A shockwave hit Brick in the chest, sending him back. Ruin stood again and moved fast. One clean strike, and Brick's weapon fell. He dropped to his knees, breathing hard. The machine voice spoke again. Shutdown initiated. Conflict level reduced. Peace mode restored. The light dimmed. The hum stopped. Silence. Hours later, the tribe gathered again. This time, not as enemies, but as one. Brick was taken away, not killed, but removed from leadership. The machines were shut down and sealed. Run stood before the tribe, and Tariq stood beside her. He did not bring fire, Ruin said. He brought balance. He faced the old ones and spoke to them in their own voice. The warriors raised their fists in respect. Later that night, as the fires burned low, Ruin and Tariq sat on a stone near the edge of camp. You could have run, she said. I never planned to, he replied. You could have let us destroy each other. I care too much now. She looked at him for a long moment. You did what no warrior could. You ended a war before it started. I'm not a warrior, he said softly. No, she said, resting her hand over his. You're something rare. And they sat there in silence, while the stars watched from above. One full cycle had passed since the battle ended. The jungle around the Bloodhorn tribe had grown quieter. The strange winds had stopped. The machines below the earth now rested, sealed by stone and silence. But something new had taken root in the camp. Not fear, not anger, but understanding. Tariq woke early that morning. Sunlight slipped through the leaves above. He sat on a high wooden platform, watching the sky change colors. Birds sang. The air was clean. For the first time since crashing on Vraka, he didn't feel like a stranger. Ruin joined him without a sound. She sat beside him, her armor left behind for once. She wore simple cloth, like a hunter, not a war leader. Tariq smiled. You look less dangerous this way. She looked at him sideways. Don't get used to it. They sat quietly for a while. Then Ruin spoke, voice calm. The tribe wants to make a new code, one that includes more than blade and blood. Tariq turned toward her. They're ready? They saw what happened, she said. They saw. Brick tried to use old power for selfish rule. And they saw you. Not fight with force, but with thought. They can't ignore that. Tariq picked up a small piece of metal he'd shaped into a badge. On it, he had carved the symbols, one human, one Rakari, joined in a single line. I think I'm ready to, he said. Later that day, the tribe gathered near the fire ring. Every warrior, young and old, stood shoulder to shoulder. Some still had cuts from the last battle. Others held repaired weapons. Made stronger with Tariq's help, Ruin stepped forward, tall and proud. Her voice was clear. Many seasons ago, we followed the code of stone and fire. It taught us to fight. It taught us to survive. But it never taught us how to listen. She paused, looking at Tariq. This human, though soft in body, carried a sharp mind. He fixed what we broke. He spoke to machines no one understood. He faced our beasts. He passed our trials. And still, He chose to stay. The crowd murmured. Some nodded. She continued. He reminded us that strength comes not just from the blade, but from wisdom, patience, and skill. Tariq stepped forward now, not wearing armor, just the same torn cloth shirt he had arrived in. He held the metal badge in both hands. I came here by accident, he said. I thought I'd die in the trees, but Ruin gave me a chance. The tribe gave me time, and now I don't want to leave. He looked at the warriors. Your ways were hard, but fair, and now they can be more. You don't have to lose your strength to grow stronger. Ruin stepped beside him. She raised the badge. This symbol is the beginning of a new path, one that honors the old, but opens to the future. The crowd was silent for a long breath. Then, one by one, warriors tapped their chests with closed fists. The new code had been accepted. In the following days, everything changed, not fast, but steady like morning light. Tariq began training younger warriors. In machine work, they called him Maker Hand. He taught them how to repair weapons, build power tools, and read simple codes. The tribe built new shelters using both wood and tech. Food was stored in cooling units instead of buried pits. Even the trial chamber was transformed. The machines were no longer feared but studied, guarded, and respected. Ruin stood as leader. Still, but her rule was different now. She listened more. She chose words over warnings. Her voice remained sharp, but her eyes held peace. One evening, she and Tariq stood on the jungle cliff together. The wind brushed past them, soft and warm. You still have the signal beacon, she said. I do. He replied, holding the small device. I fixed it. I could call a rescue ship now. And leave? He looked out at the stars. I could. But I won't. She looked at him carefully. Why? Because I found something here, he said. Something better than running back home. I found a tribe that didn't eat me, even though they planned to. Ruin gave a rare smile. He smiled back. And I found you. Her voice dropped. I was once told to see every outsider as prey. You changed that. You gave me a chance, he said. That's more than most would have. A moment passed between them, silent, strong. A new understanding. A quiet bond that needed no words. On the day of the new code ceremony, Tariq wore armor for the first time. It was light, shaped for movement, painted with silver lines. Ruin had made it herself. You look like one of us now, she said. He laughed. Do I get a new name too? Ruin thought for a moment. You already have one? Oh. She tapped his chest. Breaker of fate. He raised a brow. That sounds serious. It is, she said. You broke the path we were stuck in. You made something new. As the sun set, drums echoed again. Not for war, but for celebration. Fires burned high. Children danced. Old warriors shared stories. Tariq sat near the flames, surrounded by friends. He listened, smiled, and for the first time in his life, felt like he truly belonged. Later, Ruin joined him. She didn't speak, just sat close, shoulder touching his. He handed her a small gift, a hand-carved ring of steel and jungle wood. Inside it, etched in small letters, were the words, "No code is final." She turned the ring in her hand, then placed it around her neck. You understand us more than we understand ourselves, she said. Tariq looked at the fire, eyes calm. I just saw what was already there. Above them, the stars glowed and deep in the jungle. No machines stirred. No beasts howled. Only peace. The Rackery had once lived by teeth and blade. But now, beside the soft-handed human they once nearly hunted, they found something new, a path forward together.